Sivashati Guru. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram. Prabhupada ki jai. So we are reading from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 16, demoniac and divine qualities. We read up to 21st, the end of the chapter. So there are 3 gates leading to hell: lust, anger, and greed. Now, if we know there is name of this gate, lust, anger, and greed. So what we should do? We should not enter that gate. Itoir vimukta kontyo tamoddaro istivir nara achariti atmana sresh tato jati parangatim. Itoi, from these 3 gates, vimukta, being liberated, one should avoid these 3 gates. Kamo, krodho, lobh, 3 gates. Kontyo, O son of Kunti, tamoddaroi, from the gates of ignorance. All 3 gates are leading to ignorance. Trivi, of 3 kinds. Nara, a person. Acharati, performs. Atmano shreyo, Atmano, for the self, shreyo, benediction. Tato, thereafter, jati, he goes, parangatim, to the supreme destination. The man who has escaped these 3 gates of hell, O son of Kunti, performs acts conducive to self-realization and thus gradually attains the supreme destination. Purport. One should be very careful of these 3 enemies to human life: lust, anger, and greed. The more a person is freed from lust, anger, and greed, the more his existence becomes pure. Then he can follow the rules and regulations enjoined in the Vedic literature. By following the regulative principles of human life, one gradually rises himself to the platform of spiritual realization. If one is so fortunate by such practice to rise to the platform of Krishna consciousness, then success is guaranteed for him. In the Vedic literature, the ways of action and the reaction are prescribed to enable one to come to the stage of purification. The whole method is based on giving up lust, greed, and anger. By cultivating knowledge of this process, one can be elevated to the highest position of self-realization. This self-realization is perfected in individual service. In the devotional service, the liberation of the conditioned soul is guaranteed. Therefore, according to the Vedic system, there are instituted the 4 orders of life and the 4 statuses of life, called the Varna and Ashram. Varna means caste system, and Ashram means the spiritual order system. There are different rules and regulations for different castes or divisions of society. And if a person is able to follow them, he will be automatically raised to the highest platform of spiritual realization. Then he can have liberation without a doubt. So these are the injunction of scripture. But jo shastra vidhim uchchijya vartate kamakarata na sa siddhim avapnoti na sukam na parangati. But those who are not following, jo, anyone who shastra vidhim uchchijya means giving up the rules and regulation of the scripture. Shastra vidhim uchchijya. And by giving up the rules and regulations, what will do? Vartate kamokarata. Vartate remains kamokarata, acting whimsically in last. Vartate kamokarata, out of last he is doing. He is not following rules of the scripture. No, neva, sha, that person, he, siddhim avapnoti, achieves perfection. No sha siddhim avapnoti. He will not achieve perfection. No sukham, no never, sukham, no happiness. No parangatim, never parangati supreme gotim, perfectionless. That means not in this life, not after this life also. He who discards scriptural injunctions and acts according to his own whims attains neither perfection nor happiness, nor the supreme destination. As described before, the Shastra Vidhi or the direction of the Shastra is given to the different castes and orders of human society. Everyone is expected to follow these rules and regulations. If one does not follow them and acts whimsically according to his lust, greed, and desire, then he never will be perfect in his life. In other words, a man may theoretically know all these things, but if he does not apply them in his own life, then he is to be known as the lowest of mankind. In the human form of life, a living entity is expected to be sane and to follow the regulations given for elevating his life to the highest platform. But if he does not follow them, then he degrades himself. But even if he follows the rules and regulations and moral principles and ultimately does not come to the stage of understanding the Supreme Lord, then all his knowledge becomes spoiled. And even if he accepts the existence of God, if he does not engage himself in the service of the Lord, his attempts are spoiled. Yes, I know there is God. But if you know, then why you not serving him? That means your knowledge is not perfect. Therefore, one should gradually rise himself to the platform of Krishna consciousness and devotional service. It is then and there that he can attain the highest perfectional stage, not otherwise. The word kamo karataha is very significant. Kamo karataha. A person who knowingly violates the rules acts in lust. Kamo karataha. He is doing everything out of his lust. He knows that this is forbidden, but still he acts. This is called acting whimsically. He knows that this should be done, but still he does not do it. Therefore, he is called whimsical. Such persons are destined to be condemned by the Supreme Lord. Such person cannot have the perfection which is meant for the human life. The human life is especially meant for purifying one's existence. And one who does not follow the rules and regulations cannot purify himself, nor can he attain the real stage of happiness. Now, what is the injunction? One should follow the scripture. Tasmat Shastrang Pramanam Karya Akarya Vyavasthito Gyatta Shastra Vidhanuktam Karma Kurtum Iharashi. Tasmat, conclusion. Therefore, Shastrang Pramanam Te. Shastram, the scripture Praman, evidence. Te here. For what? Karya Karya Vyavasthito. Karya. What is the duty? Akarya. And what is forbidden activities? Vyavasthito in determining. And determining which is karya, which is akarya. How to decide? Praman is Shastra. Tasma Shastra Pramanam. Karya karya avastha. Now, if anything, the conclusion, proof is Shastra, then what we should do? What we should do? We should know what is the conclusion of Shastra. Gyatta Shastra Vidhan Uktam. Gyatta, knowing Shastra Vidhan, the regulations of the scripture. Uktam, as declared in the scripture. Karma Kurtum, do work. Iha, in this word, Aroshi, you should. Clear. One should therefore understand what is duty and what is not duty by the regulations of the scriptures. Knowing such rules and regulations, one should act so that he may gradually be elevated. Very clear instruction. As stated in the 15th chapter, all the rules and regulations of the Vedas are meant for knowing Krishna. If one understands Krishna from the Bhagavad Gita and becomes situated in Krishna consciousness, engaging himself in devotional service, he has reached the highest perfection of knowledge offered by the Vedic literature. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu made this process very easy. He asked people simply to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, and to engage in devotional service of the Lord and eat the remnants of foodstuff offered to the deity. One who is directly engaged in all these devotional activities is to be understood as having studied all Vedic literature. He has come to the conclusion perfectly. Of course, for the ordinary persons who are not in Krishna consciousness or who are not engaged in devotional service, what is to be done and what is not to be done must be decided by the injunctions of the Vedas. One should act accordingly without argument. That is called following the principles of Shastra or scripture. Shastra is without the four principles. Shastra, what is Shastra? People may think, oh, that is written by someone. No, Shastra is not written by someone. Shastra is without the four principal defects that are visible in the conditioned soul. All conditions are four defects. Brahm, Pramad, Vipralipsha, Karnavata. Brahm, Pramad, Karnapata. First is Karnapata, imperfect senses. Then Vipralipsha, the cheating propensity. And Brahm, sure to commit mistakes, certainly of committing mistakes. And Pramad, and certainty of being illusioned. So every conditioned soul has these four defects. Here is, nobody can claim that I have never committed a mistake in my life. An illusion, he is seeing everybody is dying. One day he will die, but he is not thinking about how to take precaution for it. And corner part of all these senses are imperfect. Still we are proud of our senses. Can you show me God? And cheating propensity, want to cheat others. So, but Lord is called apaurusho. Lord is free from these four defects. That is why whatever is written by the Lord, these things also free from these four defects. These four principal defects in conditioned life disqualify one from putting forth rules and regulations. That is why the conditioned soul should not write in a book. Because whatever I will write, the book will be full of mistakes. So why you should write something that is full of mistakes? Why disturb other, misguide other? Therefore, the rules and regulations, as described in the Shastra, being above these defects, are accepted without alteration by the great saints, acharyas, and great souls. In India, there are many parties of spiritual understanding, generally classified as two: the impersonalists and personalists, Sabishesvadi, Nirakarvadi. Both of them, however, lead their lives according to the principles of the Vedas. Without following the principles of the scriptures, one cannot elevate himself to the perfectional stage. One who actually, therefore, understands the purport of the Shastra is considered fortunate. One who actually understands the purport of Shastra, he is fortunate. In human society, aversion to the principles of understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the cause of all fall downs. The cause of all fall down is aversion to the principles of understanding of Supreme Personal Godhead. That is the greatest offense of human life. Not accepting the supremacy of the Lord. That is the greatest offense. Other offense may be small, but not accepting Lord and the Supreme, that is the greatest offense. Therefore, Maya, the material energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is always giving us trouble in the shape of the threefold miseries. Otayeb Prabhat wrote, Otayeb Maya tare day bohu dukh, dukkhe habudubu tabu tahe manishuk. Maya, as Maya is the eternal servant, maid servant of Krishna. So when one is not accepting the supremacy of the Lord, Maya will give him a lot of trouble. At least three types of suffering, miseries. Otayeb Maya tare day bahu dukh. Dukkhe habudubu tabu tahe manishuk. They are drowning in this ocean of miseries, but still he's thinking, I'm happy. Like one earth is kicked by the she-ass, and she's thinking, he-ass is thinking, oh, she loves me. Prabhupada give another example. Chirorugi dukkhobugi shojjate shuya kahe bhalo achi aaj hashi hashi. One person is suffering in the hospital bed for months together. If you are able to eat half chapati, he said, oh, I'm feeling better today. I ate half chapati today. He's thinking, I'm better. I'm good. That is Maya. Some people are proud, oh, I am the peon of that office. That office is the tallest building in our city. He's so happy. I am the peon of that building, the tallest building. Somebody happy, oh, my house is so, the side of the road, in that road, Pradhan Mantri, Prime Minister wandered past. So I am so fortunate. Say happy about that. Hog also is happy. Oh, See, I have no food poisoning, I'm eating. The human being are always worried about food poisoning, food poisoning. We don't have any problem of food poisoning. Our hog life is better. See, that is Maya. Maya will make us understand like that. This material energy is constituted of these three modes of material nature. One has to raise himself at least to the mode of goodness before the path to understand the Supreme Lord can be opened. I will read it. One has to raise himself at least to the mode of goodness before the path of understanding the Supreme Lord can be opened. Without raising oneself to the standard of mode of goodness, one remains in the ignorance and passion, which are the cause of demoniac life. Those in the modes of passion and ignorance deride the scriptures, deride the holy man, and deride the proper understanding of the Supreme Personality of God. They disobey the instructions of the spiritual master and did not care for the regulations of the scriptures. In spite of hearing the glories of devotional service, they are not attracted. Thus, they manufacture their own way of elevation. My way is highway. These are some of the defects of human society which lead to the demoniac status of life. If, however, one is able to guide it by a proper and bona fide spiritual master who can lead one to the path of elevation to the higher stage, then one's life becomes successful. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports to the 16th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the matter of divine and demoniac natures. So now, what is the conclusion of the chapter? Conclusion of the chapter. Conclusion of chapter, one should follow scripture. Tasmat shastram pramanamte karja karja bhavas. What should be done, what should not be done? What is the proof? Shastra. Now, after hearing this, what question may come in your mind? Can you guess? What question come in your mind? After hearing that, then Arjuna will ask, okay, you are telling that everybody should follow scripture, but I don't know what is the injunction of scripture, but I have so much faith. Honestly, I want to do that. What is the wrong in it? I have a lot of faith. I don't want to follow scripture. So what is benefit? Then this question is opening the chapter. Arjuna Vacha. Je shastra vidim utsijya jajante surdhanita. Tesham nishtha tuga Krishna sattam rajastam. Arjuna Vacha said, Je, those who shastra vidim utsijya, giving up the rules and regulations of the scripture, jajante surdhanita, jajante, worship surdhanta, full faith. Anita, proceed. Tesham nishtha, their faith of them. Tu ka Krishna, O Krishna, what type of their faith? Tu what? Ka, what? Krishna, O Krishna. Sattama rajastama, is satta rajatama. Sattva goodness, or else raja in passion, tama in ignorance. O Krishna, what is the destination? What is the cessation of those who do not follow the principles of scripture but worship according to their own imagination? Are they in goodness, in passion, or in ignorance? Very nice question. In the 4th chapter, 39th verse, it is said that a person faithful to the particular type of worship gradually becomes elevated to the stage of knowledge and attains the highest perfection stage of peace and prosperity. Siddhavan labhate jnanam tatparo sangi. Jnanam labda parang shantim achirna digach. And another verse, akgoscha asrda dhanascha sangshatna vinashyat. So faith is very important. There, what is mentioned? A person faithful to a particular type of worship gradually becomes elevated to the stage of knowledge and attains the highest perfection stage of peace and prosperity. In the 16th chapter, it is concluded that one who does not follow the principles laid down in the scripture is called Asura, demon, and one who follows the scripture in action faithfully is called Deva or demigod. Vishnu Bhakta Smita Daiva Ashirastad Vipacha. Now, if one with faith follows some rules which are not mentioned in the scripture injunctions, what is his position? This doubt of Arjuna's is to be cleared by Krishna. Are those who create some sort of God by selecting a human being and placing their faith in him, worshipping in goodness, passion, or ignorance? Do such persons attain the perfectional stage of life? Is it possible for them to be situated in real knowledge and elevate themselves to the highest perfectional stage? Do those who do not follow the rules and regulations of the scriptures, but who have faith in something and worship gods and demigods, and men attain success in their before? Origin is putting these questions to Arjuna. Origin is putting the question to Krishna. Now, Krishna is giving the answer. Faith are of 3 types. Sri Bhagavan was Trividha Bhavati Shraddha Dehinam Sha Shavaja Shattiki Rajeshi Cheva Tamashi Cheti Tam Srinu. Sri Bhagavan was the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Trividha of 3 kinds. Bhavati becomes Shraddha, the faith. Dehinam of the embodied. Sa, that. Shavavaja, according to his mode of material nature. Sattiki, in the mode of goodness. Rajasi, in the mode of passion. Cha also. Eva certainly. Tamasi, in the mode of ignorance. Cha and iti das. Tam, there. Srinu, hear from me. Translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, according to the modes of nature, according to the embodied soul, according to the modes of nature acquired by the embodied soul, one's faith can be of 3 kinds, in goodness, in passion, or in ignorance. Now, hear about this. Part 1. Those who know the rules and regulations of the scriptures, but out of laziness or indolence, give up following the rules and regulations, are governed by the modes of material nature. According to their previous activities in the mode of goodness, passion, or ignorance, they acquire a nature which is of a specific quality. The association of the living entity with the different modes of nature has been going on perpetually. Since the living entity is in contact with material nature, he acquires different types of mentality according to the association with the material modes. But this nature can be changed if one associates with a bona fide spiritual master and abides by the rules and the scriptures. Gradually, one can change his position from ignorance to goodness, or from passion to goodness. The conclusion is that blind faith in a particular mode of nature cannot help a person become elevated to the perfectional stage. You say, "No, to me, my father is my God." Somebody has this type of faith. Or to me, my father is God. Okay? So, yeah, there is no problem to respect your father. But how the rascal, he said, to me, my father is God. That means he has no idea what is the definition of God. How your father can God? Has he created the moon, sun, all these things? Can your father control his nature's call? So how you can God? Sentiment. The conclusion is that blind faith in a particular mode of nature cannot help a person become elevated to the perfectional stage. One has to consider things carefully, with intelligence, in the association of a bona fide spiritual master. Thus, one can change his position to a higher mode of nature. Hare Krishna. Very nice. Thank you very much. I have to go today. Program. Forward because it is go down.